What you're looking at here was an unvarnished President Trump, harshly critical of his hosts at the United Nations, harshly critical of Western Europe and NATO in particular, as you say. The president, recalling that he once bid on an effort to refurbish the United Nations and airing his grievances, that his offer was rebuffed many years ago, and saying that the United Nations then didn't know what it was doing and now doesn't know what it's doing, saying that your countries are going to hell, speaking to members of the United Nations, and saying that ultimately he's the one on the world stage trying to bring peace, and he's not receiving any help from the United Nations, didn't even get a phone call from the United Nations in some of these campaigns that he's been engaged in, and complaining about a broken escalator and a broken teleprompter, which appeared, Carl, to my eye, to get fixed at some point during the middle of the speech. But that does not mean that the person who was in charge of it is not still in trouble, as the president said. Look, this is a president who is airing his grievances here on the world stage and hoping to get some result, hoping to get NATO to increase defense spending, hoping to get European countries to stop buying Russian oil, hoping to get Hamas to release hostages, all of those things that he wants to see on the world stage. And the president not really engaging in diplomatic niceties or politeness here. He says, when I don't like my enemies, I really don't like them. And he was very clear about that, very straightforward. And the White House called this in advance, blunt talk to the United Nations. And I think that's what we got here, Carl.
Yeah, interesting to hear him address President Lula of Brazil, saying that they actually had good chemistry for the 39 seconds or so that they met, and that they're going to meet. That'll be an interesting development. Speaking of the trade war, Eamon, that kind of got pushed to the lower end of the speech. Not an expansive discussion of tariffs, although he did call them a defense mechanism for the country.
Yeah, the president, maybe has moved to a post-tariff phase of his presidency here now that he's achieved much of what he wanted to do with those tariffs. But, your point about the Brazilian leader is a good one, Carl. You talk to people who've interacted with the president one-on-one, and what they'll tell you is that the president in person is not as willing to be as harshly critical as he is in these big impersonal set pieces, whether it's on a stage or on social media. In person, they say, the president wants to be liked. And so if you are somebody who's been the target of the president's wrath, you are well advised to get into the room with the president of the United States, get that FaceTime, because you might be able to flip the script a little bit in terms of the criticism. The president has a pattern of publicly airing grievances and criticisms of people, and then when meeting them in person, sort of the pivot can begin to happen.